Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I'm here to take a look at the Timeless Wisdom Commander deck for Magic the Gathering. It features Gavi, Nest Warden. On the back it says, the Outlander Gavi spends her days in the wilds, passing on her knowledge to her adopted brood of monsters. Those who mistake her calm demeanor for weakness tend to realize their error as they are devoured by cat dinosaurs. This contains a deck box, a 100 card deck with 17 new cards, 10 double-sided token cards, foil oversized commander card, life wheel, strategy insert, and reference card. Let's take a look at those contents. Here's our face commander, Gavi Nest Warden. For 2 blue, red, and white, you get a legendary creature, Human Shaman. You may pay 0 rather than the cycling cost of the first card you cycle each turn. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 red and white dinosaur cat creature token, and she is a 2/5. Here we have our 2 small deck box. Inside we have some instructions on how to play the deck with the 3 different commanders that are included here. The instructions are pretty scant, but I guess it's better than nothing. We have some information on commander rules itself. And on the back we have some biographical information for the included commanders, which is a nice bonus so that you get to know better the commander that you are playing. Here we have our life counter, a card divider, and our deck. And that is the deck. I'll play it against the other decks and I'll be back to let you know what I think. Alright, so let's talk about the Timeless Wisdom Commander deck. But before we do, I think we need to take a short break to talk about the production of this deck. Now, as you can see from my deck box here, there is some damage that happened to the deck box. And what did I do to the deck box to cause that damage? I placed it under another one of these commander deck boxes, and that's where that came from. Inside there is a little bit more damage, as you can see, where the deck box stuck to itself. And then, fortunately, there was no sticking inside. Unlike the other decks, this one didn't have its fold out completely destroyed and its oversized commander completely ruined by the fact that the paper would stick to each other. But, as you can see here, this oversized card is badly warped and there is a lot of bubbling happening as a result of the card back, the paper part of the card being dehydrated is what I think is what happened, and then folding backwards into itself as it shrank. And so we have a kind of ruined card as a result of this, and this is a problem with the production. I don't know if it is the material that this box and all of the contents are made out of, but I didn't really store this anywhere unusual. It was next to all of my other Magic cards and boxes and so forth, including just card boxes filled with cards that were naked. And so I find it extremely problematic that this particular deck and the products that came in it were ruined by putting it and storing it in the product that it came in, this deck box. And that's a problem. As you can see, my actual Gavi Nest Warden also got severely curled. and I managed to flatten it a bit with some books, but it is still badly curled, and that's because unlike these other foils, which were hidden in the middle of the deck after I played it for a bit, I left this one on top so I can just see the face commander right then and there, and it got curled, and this is a problem. I think that this makes the Gavi Nest Warden impossible to play in the 99 because the card is so badly marked from its curling that it is obvious wherever it is in the deck if you're looking at the deck, and I haven't been able to flatten this out even with the pressure of very heavy books. I think that I might have to apply some sort of hydration scheme, whether a humidifier or something, to make this thing flatten out again, but as it is a problem that this card curled, that this card got ruined, that this box is a problem for the cards in the deck. I think that if you were to purchase this, or if you have this, I would make sure that all your cards are sleeved and that you take it out of this deck box and find another solution than what Wizards provided you, because what Wizards provided you is possible to ruin your product on the inside. But I won't belabor this anymore. We're going to put this away, and let's talk about the deck itself. Alright, so let's talk about this deck. The commanders are all doing somewhat different things here, but there is a little bit of synergy between all of the commanders, but one of them is clearly inferior in this deck than the others. And so what this deck is trying to do is, it is a cycling deck. That's one of the themes of Ikoria, and Gavi Nest Warden is the face commander, and it sort of hints at what the other two will do as well. Gavi Nest Warden lets you cycle for free for the first card that you cycle each turn, and so that means that you can cycle a whole lot and draw it through your deck. And this deck has some benefits in it if you cycle cards and or draw and or discard cards, and Shabraz and Braylon are real clear examples of that, because Braylon gets stronger when you discard cards and Shabraz gets stronger when you draw cards. So looting is kind of the effect, or rummaging if it were, is kind of the effect that you really want to do with this particular deck, and cycling is part of that. Now there's a bunch of cards in here that also care about cycling in particular, and that is pretty cool. I like that. The fact that there is a good amount of synergy in the deck for cycling, or things that are related to cycling, like drawing and discarding cards here. The other thing that this deck is trying to do is counters, and Gavi gives you a 2/2 whenever you draw your second card each turn, which usually happens when you cycle on your own turn, or if you multi-cycle on an opponent's turn, and that gets you a 2/2 red and white dinosaur cat creature token. Counters is what Akeem cares about here, and so whenever you create tokens, you get an additional 1/1 white bird creature token with flying, which is fine. But this makes Akeem one of the weaker cards in the deck, because although there are some other token generators in the deck, this doesn't play as well with the cycling theme or the draw discard theme, which is a lot more common in this particular deck. And so I found that Akeem is perhaps the kind of commander that you actually want to reformulate this deck for. And yes, Gavi can fit in with what Akeem is doing, and Akeem does support what Gavi is doing, but Akeem by itself as a face commander is perhaps the weakest of the bunch. I think Browland and Shabraz are fun in the sense that they work in this deck and they get quite strong, and if you like being a little bit more aggressive, then they're going to reward you more than Gavi. But Gavi's a lot more a value builder, and so whether you want to play with one or the other is a bit more in line with your preferred play style. As for the contents of the deck, I think that, this is a pre-constructed commander deck. You're not going to get like the most amazing cards, but there are some good cards in there that do work with the theme pretty well, and I think it supports the cycling theme just a little bit more than the token theme. And so you might want to refine the deck a little bit more, because the split between the token theme and the cycling theme makes the token theme feel a little bit weaker, and so you might want to like take Akeem out and maybe some of the other token specific cards out and replace it with a lot more cycling. But I found that this deck was relatively fun to play because of the ability to just cycle out things, and I think it would be even more fun if you could update the deck to really hit the cycling notes a lot stronger. It wasn't the best deck, I think, of the bunch in terms of its win ratio, but it does something that is fairly particular to Ikoria and does it well, and so I do appreciate this particular deck. I just wish that it didn't have curled foils all over the place. Let me know what your experiences with this deck were, if you were able to play with it a bit, and what your thoughts were about the deck in general. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.